Okay, hey guys, I'm Mekkah, and I'm here with Circles Everywhere. Say hi.
Hey everyone.
And we're going to be talking about Void, because I played it and he made it, so I thought people might want to know about how he made it and who he is and what he does. So first off, can you just talk a little bit about yourself and maybe how you got into Fire Emblem and anything else you want to share with the viewers so they have an idea of who you are?
Okay, sure, yeah. So when I first got into Fire Emblem, that was quite a long time ago. I just sort of had my old Game Boy Advance and just came across the FE7, cart, ROM, whatever, at some point. And I played it, and I was a little kid, and I thought that Lynn's Tale was the entire thing. And when that was done, I was like, what? There's more? This is great. And somewhere along the line, I fell into sort of ROM hacking for a very brief period, like a month, in like high school or something, where I just sort of was aimlessly doing things and never quite managed to get beyond, inserting a portrait. At which point, it was way too hard and I gave up. But this was because it was like in the time before even Feditor was out.
Before what was out?
Before Feditor, which is like...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and...
Fire Emblem Editor, the program that lets you hack things, sort of, that lets you change values.
Yes, and it was really, really terrible to actually do anything. So I gave up, and, I don't know, like, many years later, I pretty much had an idea to make... I think it was a Ruby and Fire Emblem crossover.
So, Ruby, like Pokemon Ruby?
Oh, no, Ruby was like the web series by Rooster Teeth.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, and that was like an idea that I had, and I was like, wouldn't that be great? And I had a lot of free time at the time, and then so I just sort of went back into it, saw that there was all this crazy new stuff in the community, all these cool tools. So I pretty much had the freedom to make what I wanted to make, or so I thought.
What went wrong
and then the tools that were out at the time were actually really terrible, and they were all 7 and not 8, and it just was not as good as what I wanted it to be, but I was also in that state where I was really gung-ho and going like, alright, let's do things. So, because it wasn't living up to my expectations, I just sort of ended up making what I needed, and bringing out things that maybe I didn't even necessarily need, but I made anyway because I thought it was fun.
Okay, so is this like the build files things that you were talking about now? The things you made? Or is it later?
That was later on. I mean,
okay.
It's all a process, but yeah, it like started off with the most basic stuff, porting things. But yeah.
Okay.
And moved on to build files, kept going up and up and up, and I was in like a one-upmanship contest with myself.
That's a great motivator.
Yeah, and that's sort of what happened when we got into Blitz. When we got into making, Void Blitzarre Adventure, I went actually back through the Discord logs and found, where it first came from.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question. So just keep pretending this is a very smooth transition into the question. How did Void Blitzarre Adventure happen? How did that go?
Yeah, so it was back in, I think, July, and I hadn't done anything particularly mind-blowing for a while, so my exact comment was, I need to raise the bar somehow. What's something way too ambitious? And Darman, who ended up making one or two of the chapters, basically was jokingly said, why don't you make a full 30-chapter hack?
Yeah, because no one ever completes ROM hacks.
That's the thing, like, the running joke is nobody ever completes a hack, hacks take years and years and years, and it's not strictly speaking true because there are a lot of, shorter 1 or 2 chapter ones being made for, like Make a Fun Chapter or Rage Fest or whatever, but full-length hacks very rarely get
I can think of maybe 5 at max.
Yeah. So, of course, jokingly he suggested that. And then I thought about it seriously, because I always do that.
What if I was actually crazy enough to do that?
I was like, well, it wouldn't really be that hard, you know. All you got to do is lower your standard. And, you know, like, it reminded me of a long time ago when I first started out with my Ruby project. Laser turned out to be a fan of the show. He made The Last Promise, and he turned out to be a fan of it, and he came up with a comment saying, you know, this is great, I want to see more of it. And then that I took as permission to, you know, ask him for advice. And he gave me some, you know, just saying, you know, a delayed project is usually better than a rushed one, but a finished project is better than an unfinished one.
Yeah.
And it's that seems obvious. Everyone thinks about it. It's like, oh, everyone should get how much sleep every night or something. But that's exactly the kind of advice that most people don't follow.
Definitely.
And it sort of sits in the back of your mind.
It takes a strong person to not only have common sense, but to also follow it, right?
Yeah. So that was, you know, okay, I didn't follow it either. And then, but it was sort of sitting there in the back of my mind. And then at some point, you know, I was like, well, you know, he's right. Let's just finish something, get it out there. Who cares about quality? And I had no expectations for it, so it was very much done completely on the fly. At the beginning, I was like, let's see how much we can do in one weekend, 48 hours.
Yeah, and then it turned into a week, right?
Yeah, so it was like, alright guys, it was like Monday when I announced it, I was like, alright, this weekend, we're gonna do this chapter creation blitz. And it's just going to be, I made a Google sheet where people could, you know, sign up and claim chapters. And just, you have 2 days to make a chapter, basically. And everyone claim a bit, you can work in teams, whatever. It's entirely flexible, we'll figure it out as we go along. Then people said, you know, oh, I'm busy this weekend, what if I just get started beforehand? And then we were like, sure, not a problem. And eventually, you know, people said, well, you know, let's just take the extra time so we can put out something that's maybe not just 2 days worth, but, you know, 7 days worth. And then from there we just said, alright, fine, you can work whenever you want, the deadline stays the same next month. And it turned into 7 days. Okay,
so it was basically, you didn't move the deadline forward, you kind of, well, I don't know whether it's backwards or forward. Basically, people worked on it before the weekend it was supposed to be done. And yes. that was, okay, so it's actually more impressive than you think about it, because I used to think it used to be a weekend, but then people didn't get their things done, so they moved the deadline a little further away, so they would have more time, but people actually started earlier. So that's even more impressive. Yeah, that's great. So did you make any particular chapters, or were you just like the boss of the whole thing, the person having, you know, the overview of everything?
Yeah, I made, it was, I think, 4 chapters.
Okay.
And that was, I made the prologue, I made chapter 4, chapter 13, and I made the finale.
Okay, cool. And I assume everyone else kind of did a similar number of chapters, and then you...
Some people did 1, some people did 2. The most that anyone did was, he made 18, 19, 20, 22, 27, and 28.
Yeah, that's the guy who was making the Thracia patch, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And... you know, he really took our motto to heart, which was, you know, quantity over quality.
Yeah, he did lower his standards. He completely went along with the whole idea behind the act, right? He got the idea, and I definitely got that sense too when playing.
And yeah, I think people noticed, you know, when they got to that section that was mostly his chapters, they were pretty much, you know, open fields, units on there.
Yeah.
Killed. And that was pretty much it.
Yeah.
But, you know, you don't need much more. We weren't expecting anything more.
Mm-hmm.
And
they're chapters. Yeah.
Yeah. Because at one point I think I said, if we just do over 2 days, we get 2 chapters in 2 days. That's still 2 chapters that didn't exist before.
Yeah.
And we sort of set 30 chapters as a stretch goal, and we ended up with 31.
Yeah. Pretty good. And... yeah. So you talked about people getting to that part, so that kind of implies that there was playtesting involved, right? How much playtesting was involved? How much playtesting did you guys do? And who did it?
We didn't test specifically the balance or anything. The most we did was basically making sure that you could get from this chapter to the next one. we didn't bother with, making sure everyone had the right levels or anything like that.
Of course not.
So, what I threw together was the so-called skip button.
Yeah, I saw the win button, wasn't it?
Yeah, basically. So you would, select that from the menu, and then it would enter the Konami code, up, up, down, down, left, right, BA, start.
Yeah.
So you would enter that, and that was like something that I made a while ago as a joke. And when you did that, it would turn on sort of debug mode, where you could control the enemies and NPCs, and you could skip chapters.
Yeah, I think I saw the GIF being posted on the subreddit where you would like move Seth or Erica or whatever and just let them win the chapter. It's probably quicker than typing in like a codebreaker code or something.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
So that made it really easy to test chapters even when your units are hilariously under level.
Yeah.
And we made sure to, always give one unit per chapter so that you have some kind of tool to take on the level. Someone level appropriate, basically.
Okay, and then for enemy levels, did you just make a straight increasing linear line of this is how strong your enemies can be, or was it like a free-for-all?
It was a free-for-all.
Okay.
Absolutely a free-for-all. I mean, some people did, if you look at the chapters, everyone did their events differently. Some people actually did, they put a multiplier on their chapter number, and the enemies would scale with whichever chapter number they ended up being put in. And that was really cool. But some people just straight up put like, alright, level 10. And sometimes they forgot whether they forgot to change it for the promoted and unpromoted, so it would be like level 10 unpromoted, and then suddenly there's like a level 10 promoted.
Wrecked.
Yeah. And we were like, whatever, as long as the chapter works and it's possible to win, that's fine, we'll worry about that later.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense. So when I just thought of a chapter, when you said everyone got like one character recruited within the chapter to make sure the chapter is beatable, right? That was kind of this failsafe. But I remember distinctly, like I think it was might be chapter 6 or so, kind of a hard indoor chapter where you got this Shaman, Arvis, I think her name?
Yeah.
No, not Arvis. Was it Arvis?
Okay.
Yeah, and she seemed too weak to take on all the enemies, so what was the failsafe there? I gotta wonder.
We didn't get around to fixing that, basically, a few times. That was the general philosophy, but we weren't too strict on it, we just wanted everything done.
Okay, that is fair enough. That is the whole point of it, of course. I was just wondering if I was missing a failsafe. Maybe I missed a character or something, I don't know. Uh-huh.
There was that one chapter 29 where you don't get a character, and it basically has to solo Leon unless you walk.
Correct.
And that one, so there was a lot of, that one is an interesting chapter concept. I like it, there's like a few bosses and then you slowly open up the path.
Yeah, it's the Beatles one, right?
It looks it's a cool chapter concept. In gameplay, it is a little bit of just a stat check. So we gave, some creative options. There was like, if you lose a unit, you can sacrifice units to debuff the boss.
Yeah.
So we figured, if you sacrifice enough units, then even a base Void with promotion can still kill him with the Super Blitz if you, rig an Ether Crit or something. So it was theoretically beatable no matter what.
Yeah, I thought it was really cool. I'm always very forgiving if I like the concept of a chapter, that even if the execution isn't very good, I will still really like it, and that was one of my favorite chapters concept-wise. But, my units were strong enough, so I didn't really have any issues with the execution anyway. It was a really cool chapter. I like how you could fit 3 units into a single room, and then I could use the triangle attack to kill one of the bosses. That was fun.
That was a very thing to do as well, yeah.
Uh-huh. So, aside from the ones that you made, what were the favorite parts of the hack for you?
Well, personally, I'm very big on sort of memorable moments.
Mm-hmm.
And the top one for me would be the quotes at the final chapter when you first select the units.
Ah, yes. That was definitely one of my favorite parts too.
Really neat.
Alright guys, before you listen to anything else, you need to hear this. You need to absolutely hear this.
I will give it my all. Cha-ching! Time to tip the scales. Grant me strength.
Kaka, please.
I'm ready for anything. This one's on the house.
Shall I then? Need me for something?
Let's go.
I can handle it.
And of course, the best one.
This divine lightning shall pierce the skies.
Oh yeah.
It was a lot of fun just seeing it and playing through with all the different characters deployed just to see who says what, you know?
Yeah. I definitely plan to. I think someone has a video on YouTube with like every quote by now. Well, that was you, wasn't it? You put that video out, right?
I put one out with a few, not everyone.
Oh, okay. I might make one with everyone then.
Yeah.
That's pretty.
I thought someone. Yeah. There was another one that actually you missed, but it was fine because it assumes that Void was dealing the killing blow to the Demon King.
What did I miss? A voice line?
Well, it wasn't a voice line, but there was a special battle quote that I wrote a check basically that says, if Void is going to kill the Demon King in this round of combat, play this, and it's like, it's over Demon King, I have the high ground.
Oh my god, that's great, I'm gonna put that in. That's awesome. My Void is kind of weak, but we'll see if I can get it done.
Yeah. And it was, you know, like, it was just a really fun little moment, and these things as well. Oh, in the Advance Wars chapter,
yeah.
when the ballista ships, the fleets run out of ammo and they follow you onto land.
that probably started out unintentionally, right? Or not?
Yes, absolutely unintentionally.
Yeah.
And we just left it.
Those are the greatest things.
And intentional, there was also, I think, the subplot with Kaga versus Maeda. His promotion, that was, like, pretty hilarious.
The promotion to dancer, yeah.
Yes. These things, those are my sort of favorite moments. I go for the, like, moments rather than chapters.
Yeah, that makes sense. Are there any characters that you, like, grew attached to, or are they all just rushed projects to you that you, like, don't really care about?
I would say, like, most of the characters are barely characters.
Yeah, for sure. They have, like, 2 lines.
Yeah, so it's, to be fair, it's hard to get attached to them. I have a soft spot for Jerome. He is hilarious to me, and I love using him. I think, yeah, I went over the origin of Void before, but you can put that in. I'll say it again if you like.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, so with Void, she is something of a reference to an infamous post on SF. Basically, the topic name was just all caps new hack. And the body of the post was like Lord, Void, weapon, lance, strength, skills, con, def, whatever, stats, and then the luck, 0, null much. That was it. And then this is the first thing. That was the entire post. It's like, here's a new concept that I have, Lord Void, luck 0, null much.
And none of the other stats were numbered, right?
Yeah, they were numbered. They're like, what is it, like 6 strength or whatever.
Okay.
And then Mangs comes in and posts the first reply, and he's like, I'm making a Let's Play of this.
Oh.
And it just instantly became like this running joke within the community, and then we thought, you know, let's make this happen. We need a main character, we need a Lord, Void.
That's
so that was natural, yeah.
That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. That's awesome, though.
And everything came out of that.
Wow.
So,
I wonder if this user is still around somewhere wondering what will happen to their new concept. New hack concept.
yeah.
Or if they will be disappointed with the final execution. If they will think, this is way too rushed, man. I could have done a way better job at this. Just look at my amazing concept. So, you did Void, but from what I can tell, you used like this new method, this new program, I want to call it, to build it. Build file or something, right?
Yeah. Build file is pretty much based on one of the tools that I first found when I started hacking, which was Eventil, which is sort of like a website that lets you place your units on a map and it creates a chapter. And a lot of our chapters for, Void Blitzarre Adventure were made in that because it's just so easy to place your units on the map. And it's very graphical and visual. And then what it does is it creates a piece of event code that you can use with Event Assembler. And I'm going to say that build files were not my idea initially. They were Crazy Color's idea. And we sort of ran with it. And he created most of the tools and I created some of the tools as well. And together it was basically each tool works like Eventil. You give it the input or whatever you work with it, and then it outputs an event file. And the advantage of that is an event file tracks every single change that you make to a ROM. And is just a text file, basically. So it gives you complete control over what goes where, when. And it has a very strong sort of labeling system, which is basically keeping track of your free space for you, which otherwise, it used to be that I had like a text document, thousands of lines with, alright, I've put, the portrait here, I've put the text here, I've put this here, and you would have to record where you had put everything. Whereas with Event Assembler, it would let you just put a label on it and you would say, alright, so I want to go to wherever Chapter 1's events are, and you would just put Chapter 1 events.
Wow.
And that was weird.
So basically it allows you to like make a chapter in a visual way, and then it converts it to a way that that a ROM or that Eventil or whatever can understand what it does, basically understand the changes it needs to make, and then it does the hard work for you, like it does the coding for you, kind of. I'm not the best hacker ever, but I think I sort of get the idea.
It's just having like a unified language.
Yeah.
The event language, basically, and it was powerful enough that you could hook in all sorts of different tools that all output the same language. So they're all talking the same language, and then you put them all into one sort of folder, and you have them all bunched up together and included into each other in sort of like a hierarchical format. And then you just take the top level one, and you feed that through Event Assembler, and at the end of it you get your entire hack in just sort of one button press. You just press enter, and it takes all the instructions that you put in throughout the entire folder and converts them into a hack.
Wow, that's cool. That's much better than the fiddling around with Nightmare that I've done for a little bit. That's so time consuming. I can't believe that. I might try that out. Are all these things like free available for download or something? Somewhere?
I mean, the entire project folder is available free to download.
Cool.
And then that has all the events, all the files, everything except for the actual ROM, which you then provide yourself.
Yeah, of course, but we all know where to get ROMs. I mean, we don't. We definitely don't know where to get ROMs, of course. Okay, so last thing, do you have any future plans? Any sequels, any future ROM hacks that you feel like making, or that you are making?
Well, future plans, well, there's first of all the Narrative Marathon is coming up, which is a shorter hacking competition. I'm not entering it because I'm a judge, but that will be, the deadline for that is in, I think, the middle of December, and then I will be judging that from then, and sometime in the new year, we have plans to Void Blitzarre Adventure. So that will be a lot of fun to do.
You're doing a sequel? Skype kind of screwed up one little bit.
Yeah, in the new year, we will be doing a sequel to Void Blitzarre Adventure.
Oh, cool. Are you gonna kill her parents again?
We'll see. If it goes anything like JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, then it will be the next generation.
Oh, I see.
And we'll have a new lord.
Oh my god. I wonder if someone's posted a concept for that already. You're gonna have to look through SF quite a bit to find a new post like that. Otherwise you won't have a lord. It will be too difficult. I know one thing for sure, the kid will probably have very shitty luck.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
That's just tradition.
I hated that, by the way. Screw you. That was the worst. Alright, I think we've got enough information, so thank you so much for joining me and explaining all about Void and everything surrounding it.
Thanks for your time.
It's been good. Any shoutouts you want to give? Anyone you want to say hi to while you're on TV?
just everyone on Fire Emblem universe in general, and everyone who's ever made a tool for the hacking community, or, you know, any kind of resource that's open source. Because they are the ones who keep the hacking community going and make it what it is. It's that sort of collegiate sharing of information and resources and everything that makes it one of the best communities on the internet.
Alright, very wise words. Thank you very much, and maybe we'll see you guys another time. See ya.
Sure. See ya.